Welcome to the 99, where we are focused on brewing a better competitive commander. I'm your host, Patrick Marlett.
And I'm Ernesto Salazar.
And today, we're visiting the Throne of Eldraine. This is the latest set from MTG. Guys, if you haven't looked into it at all, it's very folkloric, it's very fanciful, there's a lot of interesting new cards.
A lot of things, new mechanics, fancy stuff, good stuff,
hits,
bad stuff.
Some misses, but we're going to talk about only the good stuff today.
Hey, that's what we're here for. Just to let you know what cards you should be looking for, what cards you shouldn't be looking for, which is unfortunately most of the set for Commander.
Yes.
For other formats, there's really good stuff.
Strictly Commander perspective. Yes. So yeah, if we don't mention a card that you find is good in another format, that's why. However, if you've joined this channel before, you know what the 99 is all about. So guys, before we get into this, if you want to follow along with us, the whole set's been spoiled. We're actually over on Wizards website right now, so you can follow along by joining us in the link in the description. Also, while you're down there, Twitter, Instagram, Discord. If you enjoy this content and you want to hang out with us, feel free to do so there. Discord especially. We're all on the Discord.
Join the party. We're ready to discuss anything you want. Sometimes people submit their decks. We say like, hey, you check this out, check this idea. Even their own submitted ideas. There was one dude that submitted a really amazing Inala line. It was insane. It was insane.
I loved it. It was like chapters of dialogue on how the lines works. Yeah.
Super doodly. I loved it.
But that's awesome. So guys, if you did want to discuss your decks with us or discuss the decks we talk about here, or even cards we mentioned in the set review today, feel free to join us on our other sources. So to start us off, we're going to look at white, and we have Deafening Silence. There's only two cards we want to mention in white, but this is arguably... The two cards white got are arguably some of the best for cEDH and even just Commander in general. We play competitively, but cards like this are the things you're looking for. Do you want to read this one, or if you want me to read this one?
Actually, I don't think this is really for EDH that's not competitive. Because of the effect itself, it's really narrow. Outside of competitive Commander. But anyway, we're talking about a card called Deafening Silence.
I'll point out the word that he's mentioning and why it might not be as competitive, or rather non-competitive. But go for it.
But the card is Deafening Silence, 1 white, enchantment, 1 mana. Each player can cast more than one non-creature spell each turn. Yeah. So it says Storm.
Non-creature. So non-creature. Depending on your meta and the environment you play in, sometimes there's a lot more like creature-heavy decks. Obviously, they're going to skirt around this just fine. Obviously, you can still play your commander and a spell. So if that's all your deck takes to win, you're going to be good. For the most part, you stop so many strategies with this. I mean, any rule of law type of effects like this, either Sworn Canonist, things that just say no, your turn is over now, are cards you like playing in Staxy builds. And for 1 mana, that's pretty insane.
It's really insane. It's a mental misstep straight, but aside from that,
turn
1 this, have fun. I'm gonna play Mana Crypt. Pass. That's it.
The guy doesn't have his mental misstep in hand. But seriously, this card is amazing. I'm brewing a list almost strictly for this and another card that came out recently, the Colossus Hammer. I want to build a list for that weapon in particular as soon as I saw it. And Deafening Silence fits perfectly into the deck strategy.
Yeah, that list is spicy. It's super spicy.
The Wandering Knight. Is it good? I don't know yet. But I do love Staxy builds, and this will actually be my first one. But I'd love to hear where you guys are placing Deafening Silence in your list. I could think of a few lists that would want to run this.
At least this is straight into Bloodpot. If you're not running this in Bloodpot, you're doing something wrong.
Yes. Or you're just jumping back in and you want to see...
Yes. Even the new Atla Palani deck, because she only plays creatures. Oh my God. Her Wincons are creatures, so she doesn't care about this.
It's so gross. I love it so much. Yeah, it's fantastic, guys. Deafening Silence, amazing card. At Uncommon, it's going to be cheap. You should buy a copy or two for your list.
Make it foiled. Come on, guys. Yeah. It's going to be $5.
Yeah, treat yourself. The next card on the list is honestly...
Wait. Hang on. Do you like kisses?
Oh.
Have you ever heard of Hershey's Kisses? Have you ever tried them? I heard they're tasty.
Is that what this card makes you think of?
Well, that and Careless Whisper.
So my favorite card from the set, not only for its 1 effect, but 2, beautiful art. Super subjective.
So insane. Though.
Hey, look. Hey, taste is a subjective thing, okay? And I think this art It's brilliant. I need the full art. Hushbringer. It's on the screen now. 1 generic, 1 white for a creature fairy. Ooh, maybe relevant tribal. Flying lifelink for a 1/2. So you're getting 1 life every turn that she's allowed to remain. But creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause abilities to trigger.
First time we see anything about dying, blocking them.
I've been wanting this so long. I've been wanting this so long.
We were discussing this before, and the other effect that actually says anything relevant with dying, it's the Teysa, the new one, the 4 mana that makes
doubles the trigger effect
when they die,
they're leaving the battlefield.
Yes, exactly.
So dying. But this essentially says no. That new Teysa Orzhov, no. You don't get to do the thing twice. You don't get to do it once. Your Hulk, you don't get to do that at all. Whatever your strategy was, if it relied on a creature entering the battlefield or leaving the battlefield, the answer is no.
Blood Artist, no, thank you. You're not doing that. Any sack outlet that you need to do some crazy stuff when it dies, no. When it dies or comes back, because it does for both effects. So
it's insane.
It's
so
really good.
It's difficult to say. Obviously, this is going to go into a stacks build again. Balon is going to get this. Bloodpot is going to get this. Any list that runs white and needs stacks elements, we just got 2 amazing ones. This one's amazing. Someone was asking me about not only Deafening Silence, but this and Teshar. The answer is no. We rely on ETBs and LTBs. This says no. It's crazy. I don't want to go against this card.
Even Atla Palani doesn't like it because she needs her eggs to die, and when they die, they need to do something. And this, even if Atla is herself, it's a stacks general now with the current list, she doesn't want this.
No.
Because it breaks her ability.
It's a tough card to squeeze into list because it is symmetrical, but the effect is so damning on really pretty much every list I can think of. Even if your list doesn't rely on those ETB effects to generate a win, let's just say you want to cast your Spellseeker for value. You don't get to anymore.
Torpor Orb?
Torpor Orb.
Even better.
Yeah, it's a Torpor Orb plus. But it's amazing. I love the card. I'm going to buy a few copies. And I want to get a hula hoop made of lips after this. Maybe some hot lip tattoo on my arm. It's just so inspiring.
At least make a bracelet, you know?
Can you imagine like a lip braid around your arm? That'd be so sick. And all it says is hush across it. So good. Everything about
like a hologram. Hush.
Oh my God. Done. Blue. We're going to shift colors now. Blue is the next one on our list.
Time for the rain, time for the sea, time for
Corridor Monitor.
His most hated color.
It's whatever.
It's whatever.
Just to let you guys know, Blue has the most usable cards for Commander.
Shocker.
Yeah. Do you want to read this one? Or do you want me to read this one?
Okay. No, you do this one. I want to do
because it has a red combo.
I want to do the next one.
Corridor Monitor. So there's a really kooky construct that came from this set. Construct's kind of relevant because the recent Construct tutor, but you probably don't need it in blue because we have many things that find artifact creatures, but it's 1 generic, 1 blue for a 1/4. Really great body to have on the ground, so if you wanted him as a blocker. But more importantly, when Corridor Monitor enters this battlefield, untap target artifact or creature you control. So, untap artifact, if this had the Splinter Twins attached to it, when that copy of Corridor Monitor comes in, you untap the copy with Splinter Twins, and guess what? You have an infinite army of 1/4s with Kiki Jiki. I missed the fact that it untapped creatures. Well, you are untapping Kiki Jiki every time you make a Corridor Monitor. It's, let's see, so Kiki Jiki's 5, right?
He's 5, yeah.
So it's 7 to do this. That's pretty low on the curve of 2-card enabled combos. It's really fantastic. Obviously, that's if you're playing Izzet, and you would want to maybe not emphasize the strategy, but have it as a side strategy. However, the card itself, I don't know how other people are implementing it or how they want to use it, but those are the immediate combos we saw.
Even if you're not really thinking about it as a card for the combo, straight for combo, you can do it, say, Mana Bolt, Green Monolith, and untap this with the Corridor. Yeah, which is it's not really the best because you will play Voltaic or Manifolky or that kind of effects. But maybe you want to loop this guy with something.
So it's just good value in the list to get back those harder to untap mana rocks like the Grim Monolith and Mana Vault, as we've mentioned. But Corridor Monitor is excellent. If you guys know of some combos that we didn't mention, obviously feel free to leave them in the description down below. And if you're brewing for this guy, let us know. He's definitely an awesome card.
By the way, Wizards, please unban Splinter Twin Modern. They did nothing wrong. Please give me my favorite deck back, please.
Oh wow, we didn't have to travel far down the list for this next one.
Oh no. Oh no. This is
everything.
This is
about
not
this
even
card.
Tabasco sauce. This is just radish extract spicy. This is the most thing I've seen in a while.
Yeah, so everything about this, from the flavor to the
Everything.
effect, is awesome. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, we just got Urza, and we have another mono blue commander that's really solid, in my opinion.
I'm thinking Ursa.
And the 99.
Ursa is the mono blue now.
I would say,
without a doubt.
even without Paradox Engine, Urza is still fine. The list just had to shift a little bit.
Abuses Tree Sphere, abuses Winter Orb. That's it. I mean, breaks the parity of stacks of heavy stacks effects.
But
like
this
that.
new girl.
Anyway, we are talking about this beautiful Merfolk wizard called Emery, Lurker of the Loch. Yes, you say loch, not lake. Scottish, please. It's a legendary creature, Merfolk wizard for 2 and a blue. Cheap. But it's cheaper. Because it says, this spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control.
Okay.
It's good. And then, when Emery's Lurker of the Loch enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. So, self-made strategies. And to get more synergy, the third ability is tap, choose target artifact card in your graveyard, you may cast that card this turn. And she's a 1/2, so she dies to basically everything.
But you're getting her out on turn 1. So if you play an island and you play a Chrome Mox, a Lotus Petal,
That's it.
a Mana Crypt,
Well, Mana Crypt is like...
any fast mana,
Yeah.
and you have her Mana Crypt, you have 1 generic left over. Play your Mana Vault now if you needed it. The thing is, there's great strategies to set up with this, because her effect, although you need to tap her to activate it, you're able to infinitely loop any card from your graveyard. Do you see it? If you have what does blue love using? Isochron Scepter, and what's that instant?
Isorev?
Dramatic Reversal. So you have Lotus Petal in your graveyard. You can keep casting it and getting mana
For free.
for free. The
Infinite
thing is,
mana.
you likely have, if with the ISO loop at least, you have the infinite mana likely already. So then what do you want to do with that? Say Conjurer's Bubble. You have a card that lets you sack it and draw a card. So you can effectively draw your deck. Basically, you're going to use a lot of cheap artifacts in this build.
Yep.
I haven't looked at the core strategies for Emery or what folks are building for Emery, but the idea is pretty sound.
Yeah,
You just
it is.
want an artifact-based list to roll through your entire deck and then build up a win con on site. And it can happen very quickly with her, but she's very easy to just throw onto the field.
And she's also... basically at every point in the game is going to be 1 blue to cast.
Pretty much. I mean,
it's really hard, and it's the idea is of this deck is going to be very artifact heavy, and since her cost is going to be reduced by artifacts, she's always going to be 1 mana, even if she dies like 4-5 times.
Mhm.
Like,
and most of the artifacts you're using are going to be rocks anyways, so
Yeah.
they're going to help you pump her out despite her having commander tax if she gets destroyed at any point in time. It's an awesome commander. I love the ideas for her. I don't personally brew for blue, but I want to see some list for her, clearly. It's probably the coolest commander, I think, to come out from the set. I think just effects-wise, very, very interesting. And I think this can be really, really domineering. We'll see.
this card is going to make me change Joyra.
Yeah.
I was thinking about making the Staxi build. It's not really good anymore. With this, I'm going to change to KCI. Because it uses the graveyard, and guess what? This thing goes to a graveyard, and you draw cards because it's legendary with Joyra. It's historic. So we are gonna be trying that build. I haven't done that in a while, so we'll see.
So many synergies. Yeah, it's going to
So
be
many
interesting
things.
to see how you fold that one into the
Even
list.
in Urza,
Yeah.
because it gives you resilience. They destroy your Tree Sphere. Oh, okay, I'm gonna cast it again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I cast these other spells first, and then I'll cast that for 3. Yeah. Really good stuff. Emery.
Sorry, please.
Good job. Thank you for joining us. Woo! Okay, so we got 2 of these types of effects from this set. I wasn't even aware of the other one, but I'm a huge fan of Darksteel Mutation,
Ribbit.
Reprobation, and now we have Frogify, which has been cast on Ernesto.
Ribbit.
Frogify is 1 generic, 1 blue, enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a blue frog with base power and toughness 1/1. So, in Commander, What's the worst thing you could do to someone if their commander is a core part of their strategy? It's not stealing it.
The first is steal it.
It's not exiling. It's not destroying. It's either stealing it and or making it completely useless.
It's about sending a message.
Yeah.
It's not about destroying it. It's not about making it cast again. No. It's about sending a message. You still got it. It's there.
Well, yeah.
That's nothing.
It's a frog now.
That's nothing.
Is that okay? Yeah, it's amazing. I love these types of effects. I think they're highly underrated in Commander. I think effectively we're usually looking for different forms of removal, things at instant speed. But I play cards like Lignify in Savala. One, I can tutor for that, and two, it shuts down anything my opponent might have that is threatening and is creature based. Things like Frogify are really good for just closing off a commander. And it honestly is one of those better effects in my opinion because you're making them waste their resources to either remove the Frogify or kill their own creature or bounce their own creature. Whatever the case, they're using spells that they didn't want to use in that way to get around your one frog spell. It's stupid.
Even if they bounce it, you just cast it on maybe you want to cast it on another thing and you still get value.
Oh, so, yeah. I mean, I hope that bounces for permanence because you probably want to put your commander in your hand. This thing is great, though. I mean, I like it. Again, it's another uncommon. It's a good value uncommon. If you feel like you're lacking creature removal in your mono blue list, this is a good way to shut down that creature, for sure.
Normally, as he said with the mono blue, mono blue has the issue of not having a good idea of how to deal with a creature outside of the three main, which is Rapid Hybridization, Pongify, or Rarity Shift. Those are the main three removals for blue. And even then, they give you something. They give you a creature, like a big creature sometimes. It's a 3/3, so it beats your face. This one makes it a 1/1, completely useless. And they don't even get it back. They can't cast it again or anything. Just
to me, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Because you have to sit there and look at it, and you're like, I really hope I top deck the removal for this. And
even it's an enchantment, so enchantments are harder to remove.
Yeah.
Though it dies to Red Elemental Blast effects.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. So
Nehab, it feels wasting a Red Elemental
isn't
Blast
completely out of the water. So at least Nehab has what am I trying to say? Red has been, historically speaking, horrible for removing enchantments. So your mono red lists are going to suffer from this.
So it's basically Chaos Warp, Red Elemental Blast, Pyroblast.
And that's it. Yeah.
That's it. All right.
Let's try. All right. Okay. We've got another legendary creature with potential.
Wait, you don't like blue? Do you like it? You're wearing blue.
It's true. Well, I mean, I like it on clothes. But Gadwick the Wizened. Gadwick is an interesting little boy.
Yeah, he was errated just in case before you say
immediately.
Yes, immediately because they made a huge mistake. Anyway, he reads
see if you can see it if you don't know what we're talking about.
The card is probably right there or there. I always miss the thing when we're discussing this. I think it's over somewhere. I don't know. You guys are gonna see it. His name is Gadwick the Wizened. It's triple blue and X. Legendary creature, human wizard. When Gadwick the Wizened enters the battlefield, draw X cards. Weird. Whenever you cast a blue spell, that target non-permanent and opponent controls, and he's a 3/3.
Yeah.
So 3/3 for 3 is like decent. He was being errated because the idea of X being when you cast it. Normally, with ETB, X equals 0, so they need
X
to
on the stack is whatever it is. Yeah. X on the field is this.
Always, yeah. So you're basically paying 15 mana for 3/3.
I don't know how they're correcting the wording, but I know they've fixed it already. Yeah. I mean, obviously, the first launch of these cards is... I don't know if they're fixing it even within the set, or like the first print runs messed up.
No, it's not being print run. It's going to be on the Gatherer.
Okay.
They don't fix this.
So wow, okay. That's interesting.
It's too late.
Because that happened with the previous set with that one aristocrat, the gold aristocrat. That was a 2/3 knight, a zombie knight, and then they wound up making it a 2/2. But if you bought the pre-release packs, you could still find it as a 2/3. But as the set released, they made it a 2/2, as it should have appropriately been.
So you're telling me
Corpse Knight.
I can cheat legally?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that if you own that card, it's still if you play the 2/3, it's still a 2/2, but it says 2/3. Gadwick the Wizened, still broken. So, what's the idea with Gadwick? I mean, broken in that the text is wrong on the card.
Yeah.
So the idea here is that you would generate infinite mana likely, your typical suspects are there for that in
Iso
mono
Red,
blue.
Iso Red on rocks.
Yeah.
Shocker.
And once you do that, you draw your deck.
Yeah, and then
Do you like this? Would you play this?
We were discussing this before, and this is we have Narumeha, which is the enabler for making infinite mana, and this is the other side. This is the outlet on the command zone, so you only need to make your deck about making infinite mana.
You can use Naru in the 99 here if you wanted, just another way to make infinite mana, right? So your Ghostly Flicker, Narumea loop, and you've likely seen that demonstrated on the show before.
A few times.
Yeah.
We've suffered it a few times.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
At least once or twice. But the idea being you draw your deck with this, is it great? And it's, as an outlet, it's just letting you draw your deck, so you still need to use something from your list to kill the board. Obviously, at that point, you could probably do something like Blue Sun Zenith, Cantrip, Blue Sun Zenith, Cantrip, Blue Sun Zenith. So the question really is, do you prefer to have your Catalyst in the command zone, which would be Narumea, if you're trying to go for this sort of infinite loop here, or Gadwick? I don't think...
Honestly,
Gadwick is better.
No. I've been discussing this with Justin and even Alex, because they both play Urza and Narumeha. Yeah. So the main issue I had with Mono Blue, at least when I play Mono Blue, is I run out of cards, because Commander has the issue of when you're playing the counter war, you're playing one-on-one cards with one player, but there's two other players.
Yeah, so and they're just watching.
Exactly. So you run out of resources pretty fast. And this guy, even if you don't win the game with infinite mana, if you cast it for, like, say 7, you draw 4 cards. It's something.
So you do like it for that?
I like it because it gives you resources to keep fighting.
Yeah.
And if you cast him for value, you could say use the second ability and tap permanents, because I don't know, maybe you want to do that. Maybe.
Well, I mean, if your opponent's deck is relying on your creature attacking and you stop the Najila, or you stop the Zur, you stop the Neheb before they ever get to combat or during combat, you could just play something as simple as Opt. It doesn't need to target anything in specific. You just have to play the spell. So there is value there. I could see that, like, mid-game, your strategy is just like, I'm going to draw X cards and leave 2 blue open. And then you can go off, and hopefully with whatever you drew, you're likely going to be running a lot of instant speed spells. You should be able to tap down some permanents, and that could be really useful. And then you can use your opponent's Winter Orb against them. You're like, I'll tap that. Or it's like, I guess I'll have to tap it now. And you're like, that's okay.
That's my plan. Yeah,
Can I untap my things now?
Yeah.
It's actually not so bad. I haven't seen any...
You can use Riptide Lab to bounce it back, and your shenanigans to keep drawing,
So there's got to be a few Wisens lists out there. No one in our Discord has discussed it yet. I don't think the guys have been brewing for Gadwick, but he does have potential. I'd love to see those lists personally. Again, I like Naru more from what I've seen of the gameplay, but I've never fought a Gadwick, so it'd be cool to see one, for sure.
I don't think it's going to see a lot of play, because there's this small creature from a few expansions back from Kaladesh, which is called Baral Chief Compliance, which is straight better than this. It drops turn 1 and makes all your instant sources cost 1 less, and when you counter, you draw a card, you cycle a card. So,
and when I'm playing Hushbringer, this guy ain't drawing the damn thing. Exactly our point. Get rid of Hushbringer.
Yes.
Frogify me. Frogify me.
Ribbit.
So the next card on our list, it's going to read very similarly to an older card called Copy Artifact, except it's a +1. You get to do a little bit more. Mirror Maid. It's 1 generic, double blue, enchantment. You have Mirror Maid enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or enchantment on the battlefield.
Solid card. It's, as he said, an expensive copy artifact, but it gives you other ways to work. Say you want to copy enchantment creature, Eidolon. Maybe you want to do some crazy shenanigans. You want to copy the Blood Moon because you hate life for some reason. You want to make people suffer
you
extra.
The Carpet of Flowers, maybe.
Carpet of Flowers, Mystic Remora, which counters. Has no counters when you copy it.
That's good.
It's spicy. Phyrexian Arena, I've seen things. Animate Dead.
Yeah.
Could be.
Phyrexian Arena now against me. Dark Tutelage. You can copy my Dark Tutelage. That's even good. I think Mirror Maid's fine.
Mono Blue, giving me more cards. Yes, please.
This feels like a forever flex spot for me, though, because it's either... the ceiling on this card is kind of high. It's either very good or very not so good. And this reminds me of another card, Sculpting Steel. What's nice about that is that's an artifact, so it's a little bit easier to find in your list. And usually when you use these effects, I feel like 90% of the time you're going to see artifacts over enchantments. So how many enchantments are you really stealing? It's a tough call. I do like the card, though. It's certainly no replacement for copy artifacts. It's certainly an addition to, I think the mono blue lists are going to favor this card. I don't know how many lists, multi or more than that, are going to want to use this.
Also depends on a meta call. Mm-hmm. Because, again, if you're running a lot of versus against a lot of enchantments, you're playing this and you get a lot of value. Yeah. Say, for example, Future Sight, for example, or I don't know, I can't really think about any good enchantments that are expensive that other people will play outside of the main
food
one.
Chain? I mean, when the person drops food chain, they win. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of, like, when someone drops Necropotence, they win, usually. So I'm trying to think of the enchantments you'd really want to steal for value, but all the real value enchantments, they usually win on the spot and or are part of a strategy that really relies on a certain build for you to even get value from. So it's difficult to say whether this is going to hit enough enchantments for it to be worth the extra blue, but I think it's worth playing. I think it's worth playing for that versatility, at least, in the least.
Or the extra effect of a copy artifact. Maybe you don't really care about one extra mana because reasons, and you need that extra copy of copy artifact. Well, here you go.
But then again, I'll recommend you to look up Sculpting Steel, just in case you haven't used that yet. Sculpting Steel is also good for that, for sure.
And very easy to cast. 3 colorless. That's it.
So this next one we're going to bring up just briefly because I think the beauty of this card is it's 1 CMC. It's Overwhelmed Apprenticed. And I think this is going to be really valuable for folks cracking packs during a draft. It plays into a strategy that this set it likes, which is making folks mill. But in something like Narumea, you can make people mill infinitely during your Ghostly Flicker loop, which is great. So Overwhelmed Apprentice is a creature human wizard, 1/2, and when it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards 2 cards, or rather it puts 2 cards from the top of their library into their graveyard, then you scry 2. So the scry is relevant, and the first effect is very relevant of that trigger ability.
It's called I Win. I'm guessing it's kind of relevant, So like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, you play it early, you have a body on the field for whatever purposes, blocking. It does stop the Tymna player, I suppose, from swinging at you. You also get to scry too, so a little bit of value there. There's no draw element to it, but that's why you have things like Augur of Ballas if you want a creature on the field that's letting you draw. And of course, Augur is also an outlet in Narumea. Do we need more outlets? I don't think so, but this is a really cool one because it's winning on the spot. Yeah, so unless your opponent is using a shuffle mechanic in their list, such as Kozilek or Ulamog, then they'll be able to skirt around this.
Well, technically, you could loop eventually until the odds are the last 2 cards are Kozilek and some random else, or if you're really lucky, the only card that's missing is Kozilek. So there you go, you kill them with that.
I mean, but they would still draw it. So what? You just say
no. They draw on a turn, so they have the graveyard in their thing, and they don't have a library.
Well, the Kozilek would automatically shuffle it, though.
No, because they draw it. They put it in your hand.
How so?
Because it's the last card on the library, so they draw it.
Yeah, but if they can draw no more, what are you saying? You're going to make them draw? Because you can make them draw. Oh, you're saying like leave Kozilek as the last card and then make them draw after that?
Yeah, like the 4 Horsemen thing.
Okay.
So you eventually loop their deck until the last cards are either Kozilek and then a random card, or if they're odds cards in their library, you leave Kozilek there. Right. And if it's Gitrog, it's even worse because they just draw with each land that hits the graveyard.
That's not good.
It's even worse.
Yeah, you pretty much do just thwart them.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if they're tapped out. They're like, I guess I'm just
going to deck
myself. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Gitrog's really the major offender so far as like mass shufflers are concerned in that list.
And Shuffle Hulk.
If Gitrog's out.
But
yeah.
If you manage to get this, loop this versus Shuffle Hulk, you should be winning by default. Because at that point you're doing stuff and the Hulk is not fast enough to actually do its own thing. It's its own time. It's a resilient list, but I don't think if you're doing all this, they already tried and they just they had it by hand. Anyway.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know what meta this is going to play best into. If you guys are brewing for Overwhelmed Apprentice or equally as impressed by this effect, because I love symmetrical asymmetrical effects rather, because
Don't-
this only hits your opponents.
Don't sleep on the Scry Chew.
No,
Don't sleep
I
on
like
the
it.
Scry Chew. It's good. It's really good.
I
It
like it a
digs
lot.
you.
it's also 1 CMC. Play Azorius, Ranger Captain of Eos.
Mental Misstep. Wait.
Done. So we were just talking about how it is a little bit difficult sometimes to remove creatures in mono blue.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great way to remove those threats, I think.
It's narrow card, but since you're playing in cEDH, in EDH in general, normally people try to play their general as a centerpiece of the strategy. And this card, yeah, say for example they have like, I don't know, Urza, not even Urza, say Neheb, and I don't know, Najila for example. And it's going to be your turn at the end of someone. You play this card, they're both sad, and you're happy.
But it's run away together. I'm sorry.
Yes, we need. I was going to segue into that. The card I'm talking about is Runaway Together. It's 1 and a blue, instant. Choose to target creatures controlled by different players. Key part. Return those creatures to their owner's hands.
Yeah.
So it may be one of yours. You need to save your creature.
Doesn't have to be yours.
Yeah, tempo out someone or tempo out 2 people and be a mean person for them.
Yeah, I mean, if their commander and or that creature doesn't have haste, whatever they're doing is going to have to wait another turn.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like there's Savala, you're going to have to wait another turn. It's really solid. I like it for its effect because it shuts down 2 players potentially and or gives you a value ETB, or maybe you want your Spell Seeker back, maybe you want your Trinket Mage, whatever it is you're using to dig for things. It's going to give you that value back again. And again, the best part is it's instant speed, so you can use it on the end of someone else's turn. So the effect is pretty wide in scope. Obviously, how effective it can be will vary. It really just depends on what your meta looks like. But I think just in effect, even if it was someone's dork and then that person's commander, I still think that's value, personally.
And if you want to be extra mean, you put it on the stick.
Yeah. Just do it a bunch. You like, they Praetor's Grass your dramatic reversal?
Well,
Let's run away together.
yep.
How about that?
Let's go into the sunset.
All right, Black.
Your time to shine.
There's
Do
some
it.
things to talk about. I mean, some of these are just gags. I'm mentioning a
Wow.
few of these because we talked about them on the Discord. I've mentioned that I've wanted to brew for Mono Black for a while. Nothing I've seen has really motivated me to do so.
You don't like Yawgmoth?
I don't like Crick either. Sorry. I don't know. I've seen those lists play. They're fun. Just spent a lot of time trying to cast that thing. Crick, not so much. Villas is the one I was really thinking about. That one's tough.
cEDH. Because I've seen people complain about Crick a lot. In EDH, like non-power.
Okay.
Take that as you will.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, there's a new commander that released for this set. She's part of a noble line of
Cycle,
creatures. Ayara, first of Lochthwain. Lochthwain? Lochthwain?
Lockthwain. Okay.
Lochthwain. Triple black.
Say that a lot.
Triple black legendary creature, elf noble for a 2/3, and whenever a Yara or another black creature enters the battlefield enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So a very aristocratic, obviously.
Cool.
What's nice is that we have it in our command zone, so there's a lot of potential here already. But that's not all she does. She taps, sacrifices another black creature, draws a card.
Do we really care about being a black creature? In a mono black commander?
I mean, I don't know why they specified that at all.
Well, yeah.
I don't know why it has to be black in the first place. Why couldn't it just be a sacrifice creature?
You're already tapping, so it's only once per turn.
So we have a commander that already does this, and people aren't really playing her either, and she's in Rakdos. That's Lysolda, the Blood Witch.
Right,
She's very good, and I personally think it's better to have generic cost / sacrifice creature than effect instead of tapping her, because Lysolda costs 2, sacrifice a creature, and then you
shocks,
get
right?
if it does a shock and or draws you a card
Oh.
if the creature's black.
Oh,
So to
that's
me,
good.
that's way better. Way better. So there's plenty of loops you can run with her. I mean, now that we have the Dockside Extortionist, we can use Dockside Extortionist and Corpse Dance, and should you have enough artifacts and enchantments out,
And
you can
just-
just run that, and Lysolda is going to be the thing sacrificing the Dockside Extortionist. I've been making a list for her. I actually kind of like her a lot more than this, because my idea with this was mass discard. You'd have all the creatures that jumped into the field asymmetrically, symmetrically made people discard, and then you would just turn after turn, sacrifice those creatures, bring them back with an effect and or not, but you're drawing a card. So you're almost always net even from the discard effects. The idea being make everyone hellbent and then set up your mono black strategy. However, not that many mono black strategies are great because a lot of them rely on the graveyard, and there's a lot of graveyard hate. You know, a lot of lists.
Not of.
They just run those effects like the Grafdigger's Cage, Silent Gravestone. There's so many effects that shut down these things. And what is it? Enters the battlefield, Torpor Orb?
Hushbringer.
I don't know. Hushbringer.
There you go.
And we don't have ways to stop those artifacts.
Torpor Orb, you're sad. It's gates for
Engineered Explosive, Blast Zone. I mean, it's...
Engineered Explosives on mono black? How do you stop a Torpor Orb? Yikes!
You have to buff it. You have to.
Ratchet Bomb.
You need to. Ratchet Bomb would be good.
There you go.
And then you could.
It's only 3 turns though.
Man, I wonder if I would even use Rainbow Lands in this just to use something like Engineered Explosives. But Engineered is really good. You're right though. Ratchet Bomb would probably be our best bet. What I'm trying to say is it's tough to remove artifacts. So unless one of your opponents is also trying to run a strategy that's relying on the graveyard and or loops from the graveyard. To get rid of that artifact for you, which is never a great place to be. No. You're kind of stuck. So Mono Black has a lot of faults, and this one doesn't really help any of those faults. I think the Aristocrat builds work better with the Aristocrats in the list already anyways. Yep. We've never really needed it in the command zone, particularly when, in effect, this has nothing else on it. The draw card is nice, but she doesn't have haste. Like, she's not doing it immediately. You sort of just play her, hit everyone for 1, and you wait. Didn't you want to play Necropotence with the Dark Ritual? I don't know. Like, I feel like there's something better to do for 3 black.
Yes. I mean, our main gripe with this card, it's not the ability, the first ability, it's the second ability that says tap. If it wasn't tap, even if it said, for example...
sacrifice. If it was 1, sacrifice a creature.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. There's no way you will get sacrifice a creature to a card. No. That's so
She'd
stupid.
A+ Mythic Rare, player. I would make the deck would be made. But I've been struggling with this one.
We suffer this every day if it was only sacrifice a creature. Yeah. Even for 1 black and sacrifice a creature, you can do your Carnival Souls thing.
Yeah, Carnival Souls.
Throw your deck.
Gavel would have had a field day. But that's unfortunately not the case. That's always the case
in this world.
Black, though. Yeah, it's not working, sadly. The next card.
The cat. Oh, no, wait, sorry.
Sorry. Super awesome card. And actually, Ernesto pointed out, I didn't realize. I was like, what is this cat sitting on? What is going on? And he's like, it's the Cauldron Familiar. He's sitting on the Cauldron. I'm like...
He's thirsty. Come on.
He's so thirsty. And you know what he's thirsty for? Your life. So, Cauldron Familiar.
Whoa.
Sickest I want to... Okay, let me preface this. Cauldron Familiar. You're seeing him on the screen now. Tell me if you know how to make infinite food tokens. Tell me the best way. Tell me the quickest way to make infinite food tokens. With that, 1 black, creature cat, excellent tribe to be in. When Cauldron Familiar enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Oh my god, another aristocrat. What? So, whatever. It has to enter the battlefield to do that. What do? Sacrifice of food. There's only so many. Return Cauldron Familiar from the graveyard to the battlefield. Ginger Brute. There's got to be a Ginger Brute loop.
Because
he's food. He's a
food golem. Something like that, yeah.
So there's got to be something there. All I know is I want to sacrifice this cat and return it from the dead over and over. It's funny. Folks have been making the joke about how this cat, like, what are they feeding this cat? It's on the Cauldron of Eternity.
It's an undead cat.
It's not they didn't spell it out for you. It's not even undead.
It's immortal cat.
Yeah.
Even better. You will suffer this cat forever.
For eternity. So, I mean...
Did you really went there?
If you build that list, you will. I don't know. I don't have anything for this. I thought about what would make infinite food. The Witch's Oven. Imagine if that didn't tap. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, it does. I really want to just kill out the board with Cauldron Familiar. I don't know how it happens, but let me know. Let me know if you know. He's working on it right now. So the next card, you want to read this one off?
No, I gotta leave you the honors.
Okay. So, Grenzo boys getting super giddy over this one, and I can see why. I even almost converted to being a Grenzo boy. I like Rakdos. I put like 4 separate Rakdos lists. So why not make a 5th one?
Just like black, let's be honest.
The Cauldron, I want black to be good by itself, but it's not. So I use it with other colors. I don't want to do cEDH Storm. If you do cEDH Storm, good for you. The Cauldron of Eternity. Woo! 10 generic, 2 black, for a total of 12 mana.
Same mana drain?
Yeah. What are you casting on your main phase? I want to. Oh, guy would hate my life or something. Anyways, so you're wondering why we're bringing this card up on a cEDH channel. The spell, legendary artifact. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard, so it's not always 12. Buried alive. It makes it 6. A tomb makes it 4. You're getting there. It's very playable. It should be easy to get into. We are playing the color that likes having creatures in our grave. So we even got the undergrowth mechanic. You remember that one? Wasn't that long ago?
You didn't play it in Anya.
You could.
Oh.
You could play it in Anya. Well, I mean...
Now you're thinking in numbers.
Well, Grenzo's really going to like this, and you'll see why in a second. So it costs a little to do if you have a bunch of creatures in your graveyard, and whenever a creature you control dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. So then it has the ability 2 generic, 1 black, tap, pay 2 life, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only anytime you can activate a sorcery. None of that matters. What's really good about Cauldron of Eternity, Grenzo, Sack Outlet, and I mean Dungeon Warden, Sack Outlet, and something like the Priest of Urabrosk.
Or the Priest of Jix. Jix? Yes, Jix. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The black one, yeah.
When you sacrifice that creature, it comes into the field, you make 3 mana, it goes to the bottom of the deck. And then you can use Grenzo's ability with the 3 mana you got off the priest to put it into your graveyard and put it back on the field. And when it comes back on the field, you gain 3 mana. Well, Grenzo Dungeon Warden's ability only costs 2 generic. So if you're following, we're up 1 of a black and or red mana. So what do we do once we do all of that? Well, you just go through you dump every single creature you want into your graveyard with the ability and put it on the field. So your win con can consist of Cauldron Familiar, it can consist of Mog Fanatic, it can consist of anything. I mean, with Mog Fanatic and then the Cauldron of Eternity, every time you sacrifice the Mog Fanatic, it goes on the bottom of your library, infinite mana, put it back on the field, sacrifice it again. You can see how the loop works. The only unfortunate bit is we do need 4 elements outside of Grenzo. So it is sort of a heavy burden on the player, but at least Grenzo is there once you have those elements set up. So.
And you're playing Rakdos, so you're playing basically black, and that has all the tutors you need for anything.
So many ways to kill those things. I mean, honestly, you could use Diabolic Intent on one of your creatures. You just, exactly. You Priest of Gix, Diabolic Intent, let me get the actual sack outlet, and then start going off. It's very, very cool. I love the ideas revolving around Cauldron of Eternity. I certainly want to build a Grenzo list for this. I think it would be fun to play. I know there's a few Doomsday lists, but it'd be cool to sort of manipulate it in a different angle.
If you don't kill me with the cat, I'm gonna be angry.
Wow, this is a card that's just immediately playable everywhere. I mean, I like it. I mean, if I draft it, I will play it.
Well, yeah. And it's an uncommon. So, anyway, this card is called Epic Downfall. Black removal. Wow. Never seen that before.
Yeah.
Sorcery. That's the bad point. An uncommon, which it makes it cheap. What it does is exile target creature with converted mana cost 3 or greater. Mana cost, not power. That makes a huge difference.
It's a lot of things.
Yes.
It's a lot of things. A lot of popular commanders rest in that 3 CMC bracket, and you're going to have a way to just remove it. Any combo piece that they might have that's 3 CMC, it's not destroy, it's exiling it, which is very uncommon, as the card's rarity would suggest. In black, it's usually a white thing that does that, so really solid.
This thing kills Kefnet.
This thing kills Kefnet. This guy's trying to brew for Kefnet now, and you'll see why in a second. But this thing kills Kefnet. This thing kills Savala. This thing kills Neheb. This thing kills Urza. This thing kills everything. Yep. Everything. This thing kills Baral. You were just mentioning him. Is he 2
Baral
or 3?
Is a 2 mana.
Is he 2 or 3?
No, he's too small for that.
Baral, you're safe. For now. Let me find Fatal Push instead. And I'll just do it at instant speed. Okay? But we've got so much removal now, and this is just another piece to that removal suite. Is it for every list? Certainly no, but I think it hits a lot of things in Commander, namely Commanders. So Epic Downfall, really solid card. Definitely advisable you look at this, keep those copies you draft, keep those copies you get from Sealed.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely worth it.
It's gonna be see play in Standard. It's gonna see play in nothing Modern because Modern is pretty low curve, and also other tournament formats. But even normal EDH, they just play fatties. So
yeah, seriously, yeah.
It's gone.
Exile.
It's like bye bye.
Ulamog, done.
Oh,
All right, last one we're gonna talk about.
There you go. No. Oh, that's Greek. Sorry, my bad.
The last card we're going to talk about, there were 2 mono black legendary creatures I tried to brew for. This is my favorite of the 2, only because it does something when it comes out, and it's not very difficult to cast, really, at 4 CMC. Rankle, Master of Pranks. So, 2 generic, 2 black, legendary creature, fairy rogue. Cloak and dagger, people. Buy those cloak and daggers. I did. I don't know if it's going to be played at all, but... Flying Haste. Whenever Rankle, Master of Pranks deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Very poor wording. But it's a modal spell. It should have been one of up to 3 or
choose
one of
any.
3.
Choose any.
Up to 3.
No, choose any.
Choose any? Yeah.
That's it.
Choose any number.
Yeah. Choose any column. That's it.
Each player discards a card. Each player loses 1 life and draws a card. Each player sacrifices a creature. And if you don't know how this works technically, if you choose all 3 of these, they operate in the way they're printed. So you can't pick and choose how you do this. So if you're reading this correctly, you'll notice that you make people discard and then you make them draw. You can't make them draw and then have them discard. This was a fault. I think that this card could have been really, really playable if those 2 modes were swapped, because as it stands, it's just okay. This is strictly just okay. I mean, what I would want to do is hopefully get people hellbent and then operate off of that. And things like your Waste Not could be really beneficial here because you're just going to still keep them hellbent, but because this happens instantaneously, whatever they draw, they can't operate with, they can't do anything with, because this is still resolving. So, unfortunately, the way it operates now, you can make them discard, and if you choose to, you can also draw, maybe benefit everyone. And the sacrifice of creature is okay. I mean, if you run strategies that have token generation, like your Bitter Blossom, you're going to have something off to the side to sacrifice, and you're always going to have a clean board to attack. And the good bit of news is that he is flying in haste, so odds are unlikely there are going to be that many things blocking him to begin with.
And it has haste, so...
And he does it immediately. That's really why I favor him over Ayara. Really, it's just the haste.
So you don't think, like, this doesn't help you in graveyard strategies for villas?
How do you mean? Oh, which is each player loses 1 life, draws a card?
No, the discards. So you discard your creature, and then you dig for the animation?
Yeah, I know it's fine. It's fine.
It's slow.
I would
really
prefer,
slow.
I mean, it's so weird that it's rummage in how it plays. So rummage effect is red's loot. You discard before you draw.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very beneficial. Yes, it's certainly good for setting up a reanimator strategy, but you're also helping everyone else with that too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it would have been nice if you'd have breaked parity a little bit by playing slowly, a more controlled game, and then drawing before you discard. It's just a weird niggle I've had with this card, and it does put it down on the scale for me as a playable commander, but I think it's going to be very fun in a casual environment. I think it's going to be really crazy the kind of games you're going to have with this. They will be very slow. If the guy is really going off and doing all the symmetrical discard that you can do, it's going to be a very slow game, but
how is that fun?
It's the Master of Pranks, bro. He finds anything like this fun. It's going to be...
Mono black player, guys.
I do like mass discard. I want to get mass discard as a thing. This guy's fairly close to doing it. I think it's the most close to doing it outside of Flip Lily. So,
well, yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
Flip Lily is pretty damn good. Also defends herself and blah, 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 blah. She does a lot of things. We've suffered her enough. And that's it for black. We're going to the other color. Your other color. We were discussing Rankles just now.
So got 3 colors. I got 3. White is honestly my favorite color if you're going to play a monocolored commander. White's got so many answers outside of drawing and tutoring. But red, we got Gamble, and now we also have Claim the Firstborn. So this isn't something we've seen in this CMC bracket.
Yeah.
That's the only reason we're really mentioning it. I don't know if it's immediately abusable yet. I am certain There has to be something that makes this immediately abusable, but I'm not quite seeing it. But we want to point it out for this very fact. So,
Go ahead.
Claim the Firstborn's 1 red sorcery. Gain control of target creature with a converted mana cost of 3 or less for
It's big.
1
It's big.
until the end of turn. So, untap that creature. It gains haste until the end of turn. So,
After treason on a 3-cost creature or less for 1.
it's
1.
super playable. There's just so much you can do with this. There's so many things that you can just take from your opponent. You just say, no, I'm going to use that now, this time. I'm going to see how it works for me. It's pretty fun for all. Let's see how many things I can counter in my mono red list. Or whatever your list might consist of. Timna, let me attack you. Is that the only blocker you had? Cool. I'm going to draw cards now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't cut in my mono red.
Thank you for this main
Thank you.
phase too. Yeah, Claim the Firstborn. It's a weird one because tactically speaking, it is either, again, very good or very bad. I feel like the range of cards in this set have been to much the same effect. They're either very good or very bad. Like they have a very high ceiling for what makes them effective. But Claim the Firstborn as an effect is really unique and something we haven't seen before. So I love it. I hope there's more of it.
I mean, you can abuse this as always with a sack outlet. You just get the creature, use it for some random thing, and then sack it.
And then I'm going to Ashnod's Altar. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to let the generic float and it's whatever.
I'm gonna cast this boots because reasons.
Yeah, why not? Grim Monolith and go. It's really good.
Have fun. Wait, you don't like mana in mono red?
Do you
don't like
like
Sitting
mana?
Song and Rite of Flame and
we
Desperate
use
Ritual,
all of them.
all that?
Pyretic Ritual.
You like Godo?
Do you like
Do you like Godo?
Godo?
Do you like going all in one creature? And getting bounced and being ultra sad? Anyway, we're discussing about... Hang on. Let me read this because this is... Iron Crag Feet. Got it.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that was it. That was good.
It's triple red and 1 colorless, so it's super intensive.
Yeah.
Sorcery, it's a rare. Add 7 red mana. You can only cast 1 more spell this turn.
Ooh.
Karn in modern? That's all I got. That's all I got. I'm done. That's all I
And
got. I'm done.
if you play Godo and you like the all-in strategy, if you feel like there wasn't enough ways for you to press a win or press it effectively early, because you're not always going to have a turn 1 Treasonous Ogre. If you have Ironcrag Feet, you're able to push your win that much quicker. So Godo costs 6, and you would grab Helm of the Host in that list, obviously, if you've seen any Godo list. That's the combo there. And you would want to equip Helm of the Host. Well, equipping isn't
Cheap.
a cast, but it's not cheap either. So it's 5 to equip, so it's 11 mana total. This leaves you with only 4 mana remaining to get the rest of this to go off. In most Godo lists, you're just running a lot of ramp. A whole lot of ramp. So if this means playing your other rituals and making sure your other rocks are out on prior turns before casting this, do that. You know, make your Pyretic Ritual the thing to get this started, and then use your Mana Crypt. Whatever the case, so long as you have 11 mana floating, you get to do the thing with Godo. However, when you cast Godo, that's the one thing you get to do.
So you can cast the 1 red spell with a 1 mana floating. What's the equipment? The attached equipment to a creature for 1 mana for 1 red. You can't do that.
No, or
You
anything.
can't cheat that.
Yeah, I wish, man. Well, man, I don't know.
Brass Squire.
I'm trying to think of. Oh yeah, Brass
Brass
Squire.
Squire. That's it.
Well, if you have Brass Squire out, yeah, then you're really good. Yeah, 3 CMC, tap a Brass Squire, and you get to attach a piece of equipment.
That's it.
So there you go.
You're going all in, so you can defend
Well, that's
it.
a little bit quicker. Then
So
all you need to do is cast Godo.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
So that's not bad. So
Well, Brass Squire is the staple in Godo, so...
Yeah. Well, if he's out and he's 3 CMC, so you likely will have churned him out. And if you have Ironcrag Feet, then that gets you more than enough mana to at least cast Godo. It's interesting. I think Godo's definitely want to play it. I think Godo players are going to play this.
Yeah.
If they're a little bit
It's risky.
all in, it is definitely risky. And the tricky bit here is, I mean, you just at worst he gets destroyed or exiled. At best he gets bounced. And if that's the case, all you got to do is cast him again for 6. You know, because his ETB he's still going to hit the field, and then you can just bounce him. But at least you have.
And then grab the hammer, and it becomes like.
Yeah, and then it helps a little bit. But Ironcrag Feet, only mentioning it for Godo. Really, I'm not sure any other lists want to play this because nothing else operates the same way as he does.
Or the best deck in modern, Mono Red Tron. Thank you, Pleasant Kenobi. If you haven't watched that video, it's amazing. You need to watch it. So we were talking about rogues before. Rogues doing the rogue thing, doing stealthy things, making everyone hellbent,
Making pranks.
making everyone draw after they discard because they're pranking you. Like,
Yeah,
See?
Wizards pranked us pretty hard there.
there you go. And this card is interesting. Let's say that. It's Robin of the Rich, aka Robin Hood. For 1 red and 1, it's a creature, human archer rogue. It's a mythic,
Archer.
for some reason, has reach and haste, and it's a bear, it's a choo-choo. For 2 mana, actually it's one of the best bears in the game. Whenever Robber of the Reach attacks, if the defending player has more cards in hand than you, exile the top card of the library.
Really good flavor there.
It's good. During any turn you attack with a rogue, you may cast that card and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. Flavor-wise, there's no way to get better than this.
It's very interesting. Now, mind you, Robber of the Rich has to be the one that attacks, just attacks,
Yeah.
to exile the card. Afterwards, if Robber of the Rich is still around, during any turn you attacked with a rogue, doesn't have to be Robber of the Rich, you may cast that card and spend mana of any type to cast it.
Yep.
It's really interesting. And if you're playing red, you're likely going to be deficient with your hand anyway, so you've got plenty of targets. I think card advantage is something that red has been struggling with for a while, and they always get these like really hinky, weird effects to give you some semblance of card advantage. And this is just another one at Mythic. It's so weird that it's in the slot, but it's really not that bad because he has haste, so it's a little bit easier to get off. I think he's fine. What's great is the card you exile off the top of their library will always remain in exile.
Yeah. Forever.
So if someone Imperial Sealed and pass the turn to you, they're going to hate themselves because you're going to exile whatever they wanted to play away from them. And whether you play it or not, it doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, I might even just leave it in exile. Because I don't want any chance for them to get it back.
It depends.
Yeah.
If it's, for example, I don't know, land, hey, thank you.
Sometimes you do have to Imperial Seal for land.
Sometimes you have to.
But honestly,
Yeah,
what's
man.
interesting is you
Gotta do what
may
you gotta do.
cast that card, so you couldn't play it if it was a land.
Oh, it's cat.
Yeah. But you're still getting interesting value from this guy. I definitely think, again, the
Even information.
ceiling's high. It's like, even if just for the information, it's a weird card, but I like it. I think if it sticks around, you're going to wind up exiling a lot of stuff.
I might try this. Watch out for this one. I might try this in my Flip Chandra deck. Yes, I made that a while back, and it was awful. It was so inconsistent. Maybe with the
This
new
will make it even more inconsistent.
even worse. But maybe
Random
maybe with
thing.
the new spell, it might be better.
Yeah.
Speaking of the new spell, because again, this is a bear, a glorified bear. It's gonna be seaplane standard, maybe modern. That's it.
Mm.
Oh, it's a human. It's a human.
Archer.
Modern.
Rogue.
Modern. Humans are gonna love that card.
I think it's awesome, but not as awesome as this next one. Honestly, this is the best, most playable effect from this set.
By far. For
Easily.
red. For red, yes.
So we've had things like Wild Guess. We've had things
Tormenting
like
Voice.
Tormenting Voice.
So
Obviously,
on.
the best of the rummaging effects has been Faithless Looting. Now we have Thrill of Possibility. It's I mean, it's
Depends
used
on the
in
deck.
so many lists.
Depends
but
on the
yeah,
deck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that card. What's good about Faithless Looting is it's one red. But Thrill of Possibility, what's great about this particular rummage effect is that it works at instant speed, and we haven't had a 2 CMC instant speed rummage effect. So, one generic, one red, instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, as I suggested, you discard a card. Draw 2 cards.
It's Tormenting Voice on instant speed. That's it.
We play Tormenting Voice.
Yeah, that's it.
And now we'll play this. We might even, if it's a mono red list, you might sometimes even use Wild Guess. If you are lacking flex spots, put this one in. This is good. You want this. If you're playing Rakdos, put this one in. You want to discard that reanimating card. There's
Anya.
so many effects to this. Anya might even use this, man. Anya's great because
You don't really care about Anya,
is
but-
the rummager, you know what I mean? But Thrill of Possibility, so
It's good.
awesome.
It's really good.
I mean, really, this is a slam dunk for the commander players that play in the mono red territory because we've been needing effects like this. Pretty sure I'll probably work this into Neheb somehow.
My Chandra as well. I need to revisit that thing because I did it before Dockside, before this,
Dockside
a while back.
Buy a Dockside now.
I already have one.
Okay, good.
I had to basically pawn off my kidney for paying one, but still.
Well, he is an extortionist, so. Yeah, it's real possibilities though. I love the art. I love the effect. Thank you for making it instant speed. Thank you for just not reprinting the same thing at Sorcery. Really great.
Yeah. Anyway,
green.
Why is John all your colors?
What's that?
Why is John all your colors? Black is all your red. Oh, you're good. Green. Oh, you're good.
I would say white is my favorite color though, but I think of most of my decks I probably play Neheb the most because it's just the most fun to win with and most fun to play. But man, there were the set was the set for Savala. I'm surprised she didn't get a reprint. Heart of the Wilds didn't get a reprint here because I feel like it would have fit the context of this set very well, if not been a weird card in the set. She's a very fanciful girl, but she got a lot of new cards. So we're in green. The Great Henge.
Mana, big creatures, and draw cards. Wait, draw cards. What?
7 generic, 2 green. It's another one of those big legendary artifacts, so not as bad to have mana drained. Still bad giving someone 9 mana. We compare everything to how it gets mana drained, really. That's how we know if a card is bad or good.
I'm going to consider from now on putting mana drain on a stick versus him.
I don't want him casting Great Henge every game if I can. This spell costs X less to cast, though, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Well, again, what is one deck I can think of that's going to be throwing down making big old creatures every single turn? Savala. So, when you cast this for 2 green, you get an artifact that taps and adds 2 green, you gain 2 life. The 2 life, maybe not so relevant.
It's relevant.
However, the 2 green, it essentially pays it's for itself. You get to pay for it after you cast it. So maybe relevant. It's also really good for just recasting Savala or whatever happens down the road. You have the 2 green. What's really great is the last effect, and that's whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then draw a card. So your triggers can look like this. You have the Savala trigger, and then you have this trigger, and you can just make this creature very big. It's a 6/6, it's a 7/7 now. Oh, it's bigger than your 6/6. So Savala goes off. You draw another card. You just drew 2 cards. You can whiff very easily in Savala, and it's the saddest thing when you've comfortably gotten out the big creature. You've tapped Savala, you've untapped, you got the draw effect to go off, you drew 7, and nothing happened. Well, if this were out and you were drawing 2 more for every instance there was a big creature entering the battlefield, your odds of whiffing are that much less. And by whiffing, I mean failing at going off the same turn.
Hard.
Savala's tricky because I feel like the more folks know that list, it's easily thwarted. So we do need things to help us recover, and we do need strategies outside of Savala to help us draw. And what's great about this is it doesn't matter about the creature's power, but what it does do is it effectively raises their power, and you will draw a card when you put that non-token creature in. So that can be even a future dork. It could anything from your list. It's really, really valuable to just have that on the field. So if you can cheat this out early, I would even skip my game plan to just get this out early, play a slower game, a safer game with Savala, and have the double draw on the field. And it would probably be wise for someone to get rid of the Great Henge too, because again, any of my creatures, and I think there's 28, are going to draw cards.
It's a lot.
It's good. I forget the ratio of creatures, but I see this in Savala. I don't know what other green lists, maybe Yisun, because Yisun's going to be throwing them down.
But the problem with Yisun is
he doesn't have big creatures.
Exactly, it's a lot of small creatures. That's the weird thing. It doesn't have problems making a lot of mana though.
No.
So he can power this the hard way. Actually pay the 9 or even pay... Yisun is 2/3, so it will cost 7? I don't think he has much trouble paying 7 mana. I don't know if... Well, technically it will be 5 because this adds green back. So...
Yeah, it's...
If you cheat the 7, then you can pay... It kind of pays for itself. in a sense.
I think of all the large legendary artifacts that this is probably the most promising.
Yep.
I mean, the Grenzo strategy is just a little bit more resource consuming, where something like this is very easy and it falls in line with our main plan for the list that wants to use it, that being Savala. Again, if you know a list that's green and or dual color, multicolor, let us know. I'd love to see what else the Great Henge fits into. I think it's a really excellent ramp and slash card
Eclipse
draw.
of Nature on an artifact. What else do you want?
How can you not like that?
I also love how you were complaining about draw consistency in Selvala when I have the same problems in Joyra sometimes. I'm playing more than
though.
third. See?
It's true. It happens.
I fizzle.
It
I fizzle.
Yeah.
I actually need, for example, the Velkan Archmage, which is the same thing. It's when I play artifact, draw a card. I have the same issues. If I don't have that or top, I don't have consistency. But people saying when I play with these guys, it's like, oh, game's over. No, it's not over. I can fizzle. It's not.
What's sad though is with Savala, you really can't afford to fizzle, because once they see you do that operation
It's
once,
not
they're like,
happening.
I'm not gonna let you untap and tap for 7 mana, then untap and draw a bunch of cards and take a 20-minute turn. I don't want to see that. It's crazy because you want to succeed then. It's just really nice insurance, I think, for the list. I don't know how it's going to slot in, but we're definitely going to talk
You
about
can
it.
tutor it, so
Yeah, it's
If
tough.
it's iffy-
If you draw it.
oh, if you draw it, game over,
Well,
boys.
that's the thing. I mean, you will draw it too. I mean, most of your
if you
strategy
draw
is
like
just draw.
15 cards.
Yeah,
Do you really need to draw more cards if you draw 15 cards?
honestly, if I needed the reinsurance, yeah, probably would put
Alright.
it down. Yeah.
You need to get rid of it though when trying to go off, because it's a May, right? You draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do your loop, you need to destroy it.
At some point,
At some point, you need to destroy it.
Rex Sage, go. Remember how I said there were 2 enchant auras that shut commanders down? This is the other one.
What's the deal with this set and magical transformations, magical warping of creatures?
Well, I feel like that's always been like a folkloric thing, Grim Brother novel thing. You know what I mean? Like,
The True Love's Kiss, all that,
Yeah.
like the Charming Prince or the Little Mermaid. All
That's
these things
transhuman.
we're mentioning, we're not mentioning because
in the Pinocchio card.
don't break the
one.
joke. We're mentioning this not because it's folklore or classics. It's because they're in the set. Actually, True Love's Kiss, it's a card in the set, which is pretty bad.
Mhm.
But still, what we're talking about is Kerry's transformation. It's another Frogify, but this has a huge upside. It's Kerry's transformation, 1 and a green, enchantment aura, enchanted creature. When Kerry's transformation enters the battlefield, draw a card.
What?
That's it.
Why?
The rest
Aren't
is
they
like
both uncommon?
The other the thing is like the creature becomes a 3/3 with no abilities. Like whatever, you draw a card, it replaces itself in green.
So we have what is it? Song of the Dryad,
Song of the Dryad becomes a forest.
and then we also
Which is huge.
which they can use for mana, and then we have
Reprobation, we have Humidity, we have Frogify,
yes,
Rivet,
but losing
and this.
So this is honestly arguably one of the best ones, if not the best one, because it replaces itself. And that's if it enters the battlefield. It's not uncast, so it would have to resolve. But I
No.
think you might be able to cheat it in there. It's only 1 generic and 1 green. And the most important part here is because there are things that transform creatures or make them into things. It's the fact that it loses all of its abilities. So again, much like Frogify, you are shutting something down. You're whatever that thing was. And there are certain things that, are going to go off before you could get to them. Like the Razaketh is going to just go off before you can get to it. However, you're going to try to remove the pieces that are going to bring upon those creatures and or help. So generally speaking, it's going to hit the commanders unless that commander's Razaketh. Again, that guy's going off. He cast him, and what if you screw up his plan?
Or the partners, and they just like, okay, so I'm playing Razaket, Reanimator, and they don't care about anything because they have a lot of dorks. And they, Reanimator, Razaket, sacrifice everything and draw all my combo cards. I win.
That's a tricky bit, because sometimes I'll see people, because I play Tishar, I feel a little differently than most folks. Like, I'll play Tishar only when I'm going to win that same turn. I generally don't play him ahead of time for value. But if I saw someone play Tishar ahead of time for value, I'll make it into an elk. And you're lucky it's not a 2/2 anymore. So it's not going to get pyroclasmed. It's a 3/3. But he doesn't do anything.
It's a 3/3. But
So,
that will be your face.
Get
So-
your Fragmentize, your Disenchant, your Disempower, whatever you're using to get rid of that, hopefully soon. Your Seal of Cleansing, because you're going to have a useless Teshar. I love it when you play those value commanders out early, like your Thrasios. Sometimes people just play Thrasios to stay on curve and not use it as an outlet. Well, it's an elk now.
Bye-bye.
It's great. Again, these effects, I can't talk about them enough. I love them, and we got another one. That's crazy.
Yeah, I hope you have a wall to defend from this, though, because a 3/3 beats your face. And if you're on the Nos plan or Necro plan...
That's why they give you the card.
Yeah.
That's why they give you the card.
You better take the something to block. Even Ursa, something, I don't care. Get something to block, because you may say, oh, it's a 3/3. Like, I can take 1 or 2 punches. But then it starts to adds up. It's being a 3, 6, 9, and that's 9 cards less you're seeing.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really cool. I mean, we got Beast Within, we got this. They're almost on the same caliber, but Beast is really good because it's instant speed. I love it.
But we need a new token now, because we have the monkey, we have the frog lizard, we have the beast. Now we need an elk.
I need a Kenrith elk. Let's see it. I'm going to be opening up a few packs. I'll let you guys know if I spot the token, okay?
So you were talking about Selvala? You need a consistency with Selvala, right? You have problems finding some creatures or some Gaia's Cradle, some random stuff like that.
Some lands, some creatures.
Yeah, Wizard said, you go.
Once upon a time, there was an instant speed card for 1 generic and 1 green that solved all those problems. What's really cool about this, and I don't know if it was really made for the Commander format, but it does operate well within it depending on the deck list. But this is another card I want to work into Selvala, and it's Once Upon a Time. If this spell is the first spell you've cast this game, I love that. Flavor-wise, it makes perfect sense, because every story starts with Once Upon a Time.
I was going to say exactly that. Imagine you sit down to a game, we both shuffle, ready? Okay, Once Upon a Time.
So you've kept that greedy hand. You don't have the other lands you need. You don't have the big creature you wanted to drop in Selvala. Guess what? Once upon a time, you may cast this without paying its mana. So look at the top 5 cards of your library. You're not digging too deep into a 99 list. That's why I think maybe it's for some other formats. However, that's sometimes enough. And honestly, we can live with that, because this is going to replace itself. When you look at the top 5, you may reveal a creature or a land that is 50% of Selvala, more than 50%. From among them, and put it into your hand. You do give away that information, but you have to. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You just shuffle it up.
It's an instant.
Really solid.
So information, do you really care? End of turn, I just Once Upon a Time, and I will actually even venture...
wait. Yeah,
I will even venture and say this could be played in most Green X decks, because the clause that says land.
Now basic...
Could be anything, land. So, Pod draws a card if it's in a stock. Chulane, we'll get to him in a bit. Selvala, Yisan, it's extra cards, extra mana if you're stuck. This thing is consistency to some decks that don't have it, which is huge. And
I love it. Again, it's just one of those cards that guarantees, and even if you have to play it for 2 later on, it's instant speed. So again, you get to do it off the end of someone else's turn. So if you're holding up that Nature's Claim and you didn't have to use it on that turn, go ahead and use Once Upon a Time. Obviously,
tell a story.
The ratio on CMC there isn't exactly the same, but if you're playing in a list like Selvala, you likely have the mana floating around anyways. I really love this. Again, it lets you keep greedy hands. My thought is you get a 1-lander, but everything else about this hand is great. Make this the one thing you cast first. Let it be Once Upon a Time, because guess what? You're probably going to find that other land you need to get the Selvala out. And again, this can be worked into plenty of strategies. If those hands are greedy, this might let you keep them. I like it a lot. I think it's really good.
It's really good. As I said, I just might try it in any green deck. But I play Bloodpod. Sometimes I had issues finding that missing piece.
Man, I mean, even like a Gitrog, I mean, why the hell not look for...
Gitrog?
Why not look for Dakmar Salvage? How hilarious would that be if you just get it off the top? It'd be so great. Just start yourself off right. Sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes I'll just play Dakmar to have it on the field safely, because having it on the field is one of the best spots it can be sometimes, because it can get exiled in the graveyard. You know what I mean? And we've got plenty of ways to just squandered resource or destroy it anyways. Gitrog himself destroys it himself. It's so cool. I don't know. I could talk about this one for a while, but Once Upon a Time, super good card. I think it's definitely worth your consideration. It's a rare, so It might not be in every pack you pull, but hopefully the single won't be that much.
And you're gonna see it in every format.
Wow! And just
Zavala?
when you thought the gifts ended, Zavala gets one more. So a lot of the issue I find with the mass draw effects in green is that a lot of them operate at sorcery speed. So, if it kills the creature or just operates the creature with a creature with the greatest strength, usually it works at sorcery speed to draw cards. So we have another effect here that doesn't work at sorcery speed. And
It's
it's
a buff
called,
creature.
yeah, and it's all about buff creatures. Return of the Wild Speaker. So a great way to return to form for Garruk. It's 4 generic and 1 green. So 5 mana total. A little steep, but again, if you're playing Zavala, and this is really, I'm speaking for the mindset of a Zavala player, that's why this is a competitive card. Instant speed. Choose one mode. There's only one to choose from, really. Choose the one mode. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. Every creature in the list.
Yeah.
And then there's also non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until the end of turn. Irrelevant. We're never going to use that. However,
You never know.
I mean,
Maybe you need the mana. You need to buff for the Zavala buff. The Zavala mana.
Why it's important that this is instant speed is the fact that you're able to use this in response to removal. You're able to use this in response to triggers. So if you have something like the Phyrexian Soul Gorger, or rather the Phyrexian Dreadnought on the battlefield, our 1 CMC 12/12 creature, remember when he ETBs, he requires you sacrifice creatures of like power, or equal power rather, to let him remain on the field. Well, while that trigger's on the stack, I can just go ahead and return of the Wild Speaker, targeting him, draw 12 cards, and then let him die. Oh, you know what? I'll tap Zavala to gain 12 mana first, too.
By the way, yeah.
I'm going to get 12 mana and then cast this. I'll have 7 mana left and 12 cards. I feel good with that.
Yeah.
We don't get to do that often because I think there's only one other instant speed draw effect. I'm going to say it's... Life's Legacy is it's Momentous Downfall, I think, is the instant speed one. The good bit of news is we have another one, and it's great because Phyrexian Dreadnought, while excellent, it's usually only there for the mana draw.
Yeah.
But if we can draw cards, 12 cards from him too, that's
Sign
really,
me up.
really good.
Yes,
really
sign me
good. So Return of the Wild Speaker, love it. It is a slam dunk in Zavala. Again, I don't know about those other lists out there, but we're definitely going to use it in the girl. Woo! Moving on to multicolor. And man, there was one card that was spoiled. We didn't really touch on any of the social, but only because it was touched on everywhere else.
Yeah.
This is really good.
This... He was just saying about Return of Wild Speaker, which has 2 modes, and having the versatility to play multiple ways cards.
Usually good.
It's really good.
Usually not this good.
This card is amazing.
Wait, uncommon, by the way.
Uncommon.
I'll start with that.
$10 foil. So get them.
Wait for it, yeah.
Drown in the Lock. 1 blue, 1 black. Instant. Uncommon. Choose one. Counter target spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard.
Only gets better.
But wait, there's more. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyards. So you're saying if you're playing fetches, you get screwed over for this.
This is the only card where the threshold, that ceiling I was talking about, is right down here. Here's Drown in the Lock. Oh, it's on the roof. It's so good. It progressively gets better. Again, it's 1 blue, 1 black. So
it's super easy to cast.
It is easy to cast, but you're not going to be pushing it on turn 1. It's not going to replace your mental misstep. But as a piece of removal and a piece of counter, early to mid to late, it's always going to be effective, and it's only going to get better. I mean, unless someone throws down a Time Twister and makes your graveyards kaput.
Or Rest in Peace.
Or Rest in Peace. Like, then maybe not so much, but then again, how many times do you see Time Twister hit the table? Really depends on your meta. How many times do you see Rest in Peace hit the field? Really depends on your meta.
I've seen Rest in Peace more. But still, this is amazing.
You use this to stop the Rest in Peace.
That's
you just say, no, we're really good. Again, and it's not specific to any creature type or color. No, it's not specific to any spell type or color. So far as the counter is concerned, it's extremely it's hyper versatile. I'm just confused as to why it's not rare. Is I guess what I'm really getting at, because its versatility is fantastic. They've really been knocking it out of the park with some of these recent counters. We discussed Dovin's Veto just recently with Azorius, and that's amazing. We got another great, not only counter, but removal piece.
You're gonna see this a lot. In a lot of formats.
Yes.
A lot of formats. Outside of standard, you're gonna see it in every single format because fetches, just by default, normally you play turn 1 fetch into something. That's it.
And
you're
we
screwed.
have Prismatic Vistas now, so that's just one more you're gonna see. It's crazy, and again,
it's insane.
The ceiling
it's an
is
insane
not
card.
high at all, and it just progressively gets better because most of those turns people are ripping out the instants and or sorceries to progress their own game. And guess what? It's in a multiplayer game. Oh god, it's controller's graveyard. So I mean, if the one player doesn't have a graveyard, then maybe not so effective on him. But for the most part, it's always going to be playable. Yeah.
And even outside of the age, if say if you're playing modern, I know I'm a modern player, so that's why I speak a lot of that. It gives food to control moments because you might need, for example, against versus control, you use the counter spell mode. But if you're playing against aggro, which normally was supposed to prey on control, use it as removal. So, and they're all cheap creatures because they need to be effective. Guess what? You have a fetch, gone.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
4 of these? You use 4 of these?
No.
You say
No,
2?
I will probably say up to 3.
To 3 of them?
Up to 3, yeah.
Woo!
Snapcaster on this. Woo! Woo! That's gonna be spicy.
Sorry.
I play Esper Control in Modern.
I love it. So guys, our next card, why don't you touch on this one? This one.
Because I'm gonna touch on this one because this is for Blood Pod.
It really
or
is.
for Dorks, or you're gonna play Free from Real Mana. Mana. What did I say? Sorry. I can't even English at this point. This is called Fairborough Elder.
Fayborough?
Fairborough Elder. One, a green and a white. Creature, 3-folk druid. Has vigilance. Fairborough Elder gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. So it's 2/2 by default. And then tap. For each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. So it has the Bloom Thunder effect on it.
Well, not technically 2/2 by default.
Why not?
Permanents, but lands aren't.
No, but by him, he's a green and white.
Oh, not other. Okay, yeah. Then yeah, he's a 2/2.
Yeah. I mean, if not, he will die because it's a 0/0.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
just by default, it's a 2/2. If you untap with this, you already get more value than Bloom Thunder. Bloom Thunder costs 1 less, but this is by default 2 mana just by itself.
Yeah.
And if you're playing Band or anything with Free from the Real, you go infinite except blue mana because it doesn't pay for extra blue. And you can do all your shenanigans. In Bloodpod, you most of the time with this and probably 1 or 2 creatures, you already have 4. So it's a 4/4. You swing with it, you smack someone faces, main 2, you add 4 mana, and you do your shenanigans.
It's interesting, and it progressively gets better because that static effect is
Yes.
always checking your board state for the permanents. So if someone removes something or other, he can decrease. But the more elements you put on the field, stacks elements, whatever pieces you're playing out, just make him more powerful, depending on the colors, obviously.
Even
Really-
making, for example, Court of Calling.
really solid.
Court of Calling, I'm going to kill it with a bolt. Nah, I'm going to be Court of Calling for
A little bit bigger.
red and a blue or red and a black. And it's like,
So
just
the
now.
multicolors, it's really good. It's a really solid card. I think it's.
It's only green, I think. Anyway.
There's one more card actually that's not on MTG's website, which is interesting that we're going to touch on. It's a multicolored card. It's technically a white card, but he has a color identity of 5-color Wooburg because of the effects he has. So this card, it's odd because people love him, people hate him. He can be played.
It's easy mode. Let's be honest. It's easy mode.
It really depends on the deck list, but there have been a lot brewed already for this guy as soon as he announced. So this is the, I believe, buy box promo for us.
Yes.
Kenrith the Return King. 4 CMC, or 4 generic, 1 white, 5 CMC. Legendary creature, human noble, so he finishes off our noble line. He's a 5/5.
It's big.
For 1 red, all creatures gain trample in haste until the end of turn. And you're going to notice the theme here. For 1 generic and 1 green, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. None of these require you to tap him. He does this automatically. For 2 generic, 1 white, target player gains 5 life. For 3 generic, 1 blue, target player draws a card. That's probably the most important one. For 4 generic and 1 black, put target creature card from a graveyard, onto the battlefield under its owner's control. So you can, if you want to dick around, do it to someone else.
So stupid.
But you can most likely do it to yourself. So, 5 color, you have access to every infinite mana line.
Anything. Pick one.
So just pick one. And as soon as you do that, you put Kenrith down and you draw the deck.
And then you choose your Winked
creatures, you give them all trample and haste.
Kill them with a cat.
Pump them infinitely. You can kill them with a Cauldron Familiar. It doesn't really matter at this point because you have such a multitude of ways now to win the game with Kenrith, and you just pick your flavor, which is kind of cool. I don't necessarily... I haven't played a Wooburg list in a while, and I don't think I would go back to it. But this one looks like a whole lot of fun, depending on the builds you build around. I think it'd be cool to run a heavy stacks element to this, and then just run the most effective means of infinite mana generation, because obviously that's, with him as an outlet, how you're going to win the game. So stifle your opponents, get Kenrith out, and win the game. I haven't seen all of the lists, but I don't know if there is a Staxy build. That's the route I would go for this guy, because I mean, you're spoiled. You do whatever you want. So just run whatever Stax elements that don't just ruin your infinite combo.
Anything. Play a pile of good stuff you want. Anything you want.
Yeah. There's really not too much to say about this guy, though. I mean, he's been spoiled to death so far as like the folks that have been focusing on him and building lists for him. I don't know if we're going to be constructing a list for him. If you have a list for Kenrith,
I personally won't, because again, as I said, it's easy mode for the building. Just infinite mana, choose one, and then choose one Wincon.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this card, it's politics, because every ability is target player, or the important one, the red one, is all creatures gain trample. So if you're in another player's turn, but like, if you don't swing at me, I'm gonna give that, I don't know, not Crater Hoof, but Billy's haste.
Unless Kenrith did his transformation act.
And becomes an elk again.
He made him an elk. That would really suck. But then again, all politics are off at that point.
Yeah, but then it's gonna be sad.
Yeah, but otherwise, Kenrith in his human form, once he's returned,
it's really good. This thing is good. Play anything, you just win. It's like,
it's crazy. Yeah, especially when you have an outlet in 5 colors. And he's not an outlet in the way that the first sliver is. And then you just cast him and win.
It's an outlet in the command zone and as an ability, so you can stack it, and they can't do anything. Only torpor or that style of effect, just stop it. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. The rest is just whatever. You don't care, and it's a creature, so you can play Deafening Silence.
Yeah.
Draw your deck, player or creatures, give it haste, swing, win. Oh, give it counters. If you didn't need that. So you have all the dorks, and now you make all the dorks, say a Birds of Paradise, 0-1 Darlane. Nah, let's make it infinite flyer, haste. Have fun. Guy, and trample, and trap.
Yeah, why not?
Pick your poison. Just
that Gilded Drake you gave him, smash it.
No.
Seriously.
Oh, you're gonna block with that? Nah, not today.
I mean, the list can only get ridiculous.
Just pick an infinite combo that you like, and it's consistent. Then just whatever, just throw dorks and do wins with that.
So, for this set, there weren't any noteworthy artifacts, so we're gonna skip over those.
What do you mean? Ginger Brute? It's part of the combo with the cat. You are dismissing the cat.
Ginger Brute is a food. It's true. I really do want to make that happen. I feel like he's the missing key. I wish he was legendary. I would use him as a commander.
No, you only need...
He's hasty, though. Wait, we're not talking about him. Okay, lands. We're going to lands. There are 2 lands. One of them wins you games, and the other one
also
helps you with games. Yeah, well, I'll let you decide which one is better. It's the blue one. Of course. So, guys, we have Castle Garenbrig. Art from the set as a whole, I know we're adding this on to the end of the video. Fantastic.
It goes without saying that they broke the bank for the artists.
Except for the 7 dwarfs card. You couldn't have given me 7 dwarfs.
That's true, actually. They should have given you 7 different arts.
Even like
a lot of people complain about that.
The Mishra's workshop before, or what was it? The Mishra's factory
Tron
had the
Lands.
multiple arts. The Tron Lands had multiple.
Strip Mine, a lot of old.
It could have been so good, man. I don't know. It just made sense.
They missed the drop the ball.
They're gonna drop a Mythic Edition box collection with the 7 dwarfs, and you have to spend like $300 for that.
Oh, you mean like the
the
450 collector's edition with something for whales?
Yeah, you get a full art Garruk again, and then you get the dwarves.
Oh, you get a binder though.
Castle Garenbrig land. That's just us venting. Castle Garenbrig enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 4, so it's not as bad as some of the other lands in this set that require 3. And you can use your duels for this too, so it should come into play untapped.
Yeah.
Add 1 green.
Wow.
2 generic, 2 green, tap, add 6 green. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activated abilities of creatures.
Guess what? Selva's a creature. Guess what? Her ability costs mana. Guess what? She adds more mana. And
wow. If you go mid-game, this helps you so much. If Selvala was smacked down...
Mid-game?
I
would say even early. Just drop Selvala, next turn, pay with your dorks, go to town.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, what's cool, it helps you pump out the creatures you need. A lot of the creatures in Selvala... There's really just Selvala heaven this set. Again, I think it would have been cool to get a new art for Selvala theme for this set. I would have loved to see Selvala in the set again. Anyways, it's really great because most of the creatures we play require green and or just completely artifact based and are generic. So the 6 green is going to go towards something. Yeah. And if it's not recasting Selvala, who's 2 green and 1 generic, we're going to use that on other effects. And of course, if you use things like Caustic Caterpillar, you just drop it, kill the thing, drop a Rex Sage. Whatever you want to do, this is going to help you do all of those creature plans. So I might even lean a little bit more heavily into my creatures as answers because I've got 6 mana to do it. It's really crazy ramp to have on a land. It's easily the best of the castle cycle of lands. Yeah. It's my favorite personally.
I mean, it's the best one. Even the blue one's really bad.
Yeah.
But still, this land gives you ramp for free. You just tap this and it's 2 mana extra because reasons.
It's no Guy's Cradle, but... I mean, well, you know what's interesting though is like it depends. This Guy's Cradle doesn't let you just tap for a forest. You need creatures. Even that's situational. In most cases, Guy is going to be great. But, I mean... For any list from casual to competitive, I can see Castle Garenbrig going into it, and not only Selvala.
You can even filter your mana into green if you need it. If you need green, just drop it there. That's it.
So good.
It's so gross.
And I mean, and
you can even copy the ability.
Using this in multicolor, yeah.
If you're doing some like Rings of Brightheart, random stuff, you copy the ability and 12 mana and just like bleh.
Activated abilities of creatures.
No, activate ability.
And I'm starting to think of how you use it with Rings of Brightheart if you can...
You pay... I don't know.
Anyway, very good card. Very good card.
It's really good.
There's only one more land we want to harp on, and the best part of it is the fact that it's an island.
So you mean I can fetch it? Okay, there's a caveat with the cycle of lands. It's that it's the adamant lands, as we call them, that you need 3 lands of the same type for it to be untapped, and if it's untapped, they do something.
3 was the magic number.
Yes. We're talking about Mystic Sanctuary. It's a land island, as he said, so it's super fetchable. It's a common. Mystic Sanctuary enters battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more islands. And it doesn't count. Either islands. Yes, we had this issue before.
Yeah, 3 or more
other
islands. Yeah.
So it's at the 4th land, then it does its thing.
Yeah.
When Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery from your graveyard on top of your library.
So, just by and by, this is easily the best land from the set that also has a subtype, which is island. Again, what makes it special, and one of the themes of this set was adamant, and I don't think it's ever going to become evergreen because of how it operates. However, these effects require you to focus in on a certain part of the color pie to get the most out of it. So Mono Blue is really looking at this, and there's one general that would absolutely love this.
Do you know that the bird is the word? Did you know? You know the bird is the word.
So this guy wants to brew for a guy named Kefnat.
It's If you don't know about Kefnet, you might normally know the newer
God
Kefnet.
Eternal.
Yeah, God Eternal Kefnet. I think that's the wording. It's the 4 mana flying, and that's all all this crazy stuff. No, that's the first build that people were thinking about for infinite turns. But then this came out, and the other Kefnet became viable. It became the card to go to. He reads 2 and a blue and 1 blue. It's a 5/5 flyer. 5/5 flyer, indestructible. Can only swing if you have 7 or more cards in your hand. And if that's not enough, for 3 and 1 blue, that's it. So you can play it multiple times in other people's turns. You draw a card, then you bounce a land to your hand. Guess what? Guess what has synergy with that? It's called Time Warp.
Huh. So you're telling me that with Mystic Sanctuary,
And
Kefnet the Mindful,
yes,
and
Time Warp.
you just
Win.
go off.
Yeah, infinite turns. And a 5/5 flying, so you don't even have to make infinite turns. You just make it a few, and
So you need at least 7 cards in hand. You're
well, I mean, at that point you're totally drawing your deck. So it's dumb.
It's amazing. It's amazing that this was printed in such a way. Obviously, this is really going to operate best with those monocolored lists.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can probably get away with it in a dual color list and still function. It doesn't need to be a basic island. It just needs to be in island. So your volcanic island, whatever you have, it's going to function.
Lands, whatever.
Yeah, anything with a dual land type, so long as it's an island. And again, it's fetchable. So, and we mean just any of our fetch lands is really good. I think Kefnet is going to abuse this the most.
But it doesn't have to be Kefnet though, mind you. It can be anything that you might need.
You just want value.
Just fetch it when you want something resilience or redundancy or you need defense. Anything, you just put it on top.
You're playing blue. Opt. Grab it.
Counter even that. The end of turn, just wait.
Yeah, I mean,
you need to do anything.
It's so good.
This card is so dumb.
So if you're really desperate for it, I don't know what the scenario looks like, but your Force of Will has been used. It's in your Pact of Negation. It's in your graveyard. You use your fetch now, Mystic Sanctuary. You cantrip any number of ways, Pact of Negation. And the thing is, it's unannounced. I mean, if I saw someone with their fetch just there.
Mm-hmm.
I would know that they're setting up for something. And, if they hadn't grabbed Mystic Sanctuary yet, and in the case of Kefnet, we know it as a win condition already. Yep. So, really good stuff. It's almost, it's not quite like the Dakmar Salvage to Gitrog, but it is essentially that same thing for Kefnet.
Yes,
it's the
but it's specifically for Kefnet, the win con. For others, it's more value.
But still good. It's still a slam dunk for any blue list. You're going to want to play mono blue list again, and even a dual color list. You're probably going to run this. It's going to be great for you. Are you going to brew for Kefnet, the Mindful?
Yeah, I'm going to make this deck. I'm going to make you suffer triple mono blue deck against whatever you face us.
I don't mind.
I don't care. That's going to be spicy. It's going to be the first one that resolves anything wins.
Wizards, just give me more silence effects, please. Blue players don't like countering silence effects, I found.
They counterbalance, silence. Okay, brainstorm. God. You do you. Hang on. We got more? You said you thought you would say goodbye? Not yet. You had to see our faces a bit more.
So, bonus footage. If you hung around with us for this end of the video.
It's the best part.
So, Brawl is separate from the set. There are certain cards that are only going to appear in Brawl. The first one we're going to start with is an obvious Brawl card because this zone isn't a functioning zone in any other format, but Arcane Signet. It was one of the first things spoiled along with
and people went nuts over it.
So, you know what?
With reason.
Because folks don't like to think that there are just auto-includes in every list. But there are auto-includes in every list, and there's a new one.
Like Sol Ring?
Like Sol Ring, like Monocrypt, like so many rocks. There's a new rock that is 2 CMC, and it's just amazing. Arcane Signet is 2 CMC, artifact, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity.
That's it. It's a 2 mana rock that adds color, any color. What else do you need? That's it. It doesn't need presentation.
Is there a downside here?
No, there's nothing. There's no wrong.
Does enter untapped?
Yes. It's
really good.
It's the best 2 mana rock in the game.
It's the definitive. So you do turn 1 land, Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, pass.
That's it. This just Dethroned Mindstone.
Yeah.
And Felwarstone.
Felwarstone, Prismatic
Gone.
Lens,
That's it.
whatever you're using before, if you felt like it was,
Not
even
enough.
Not
Well,
enough.
You have another one.
It's really great stuff, guys. So don't really need to touch on that much more. Before we get to the standout commander from Brawl, though, I do want to touch on one more artifact. So yeah, it's funny, the set itself didn't hold any great artifacts for commander, but of course, the Brawl set apparently did. I would buy these singles. I probably wouldn't buy into whatever the Brawl decks look like. I don't know what they look like.
No way.
But Tome of Legends, man. So this is encouraging a specific type of play. But I think for a lot of a lot of commanders, they're going to enjoy this. I mean, Timna, why the hell not?
Why would you need this?
You don't need it, but why not? The thing is, I see this going into two lists. One I'm working on, one I have. So some of you asked if this is going into Nahab. Yes, this is going into Nahab, Dreadhorde Champion. Tome of Legends is 2 CMC artifacts. Tome of Legend enters the battlefield with a page counter on it, so you can do the thing immediately. Whenever your commander enters the battlefield or attacks. Again, this is encouraging a specific type of play, those aggro list. Put a page counter on Tome of Legends. For 1 mana, tap it, remove a page counter, you draw a card. You said you didn't have card advantage. They answered. They answered in a really interesting way. Is it a good way? I would say yes, because this doesn't necessarily slot
not broken
into every list. It's not broken.
It helps you.
And it helps you, and it's honestly probably the fairest way this Throne of Eldraine set to give you a draw effect that would be good in your Boros list that you felt was lacking. That gives you but particularly mono white and mono red, right?
Even mono blue. As I told before, sometimes mono blue has issues drawing cards. It happens.
Yeah.
There you go, and it's cheap.
It's not bad at all, man. I mean, does Brawl find himself attacking? No, I mean, you're going to put him down once, and you tap that for draw 2 at most, even if you just cast him once and you get the 1 page counter.
I was thinking Narumeha?
Narumeha, you would flicker. I mean, you flicker her for a billion page counters, but at that point you should be winning, hopefully. But some instances, if all you have is a way to scry infinitely, then maybe you can use Tome of Legends to just get the draw off the top.
There you go.
Why
we not use top instead of that? Doesn't matter. But here you go.
More
you
options.
Can recurring draw effect for any generals, color pies, combinations that you need felt to make more drawing power.
Yeah.
Flip Chandra. There you go. Problem fixed. That's it. I'm making Flip Chandra again. Make Chandra great again. But that's going to be my hashtag for the day.
Boros really is the part of the color pie we're looking at here. You can tell.
Boros is dead.
It's always been bad with draw, but now we have things that help your aggro heavy decks, your aggro heavy commander.
It's attacks.
Tome of Legends.
There you go.
Love it.
It's really good.
So the one commander we're going to touch on,
the Broken.
Yeah, we
call him the Broken.
He's been brewed to death, and I mean, you've probably heard of Chulane food chain. We don't need to really discuss it that much, but if you strictly watch our content and we're wondering if there's a new commander in this Brawl set, Chulane, Teller of Tales. You want to read this one off?
Yeah. It's probably my favorite colors in Commander because I come from my Derevi days after Boros. Boros is still my first color, but this is a bad Commander, guys. It's 2 green, white, and a blue. It's a 2/4 legendary creature, human druid. It has vigilance. Who cares? Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. For 3 and tap it. Return target creature you control to its owner's hand. Who cares about the first ability? Who cares about the third one? The second one is beyond broken. It's a glimpse of nature all the time. You don't even need to think about anything else.
With the benefit of putting a land you draw into, because functionally you'll draw if you have a land, put it down, and you get to continue doing this. So why did I say food chain Chulane off the bat? We have 2 food chain creatures, 2 things that we can exile and cast from exile in Bant, and that being Mist Hollow Griffin and our what is his name?
The
generic one. Yeah, the generic one, Scourge.
Oh,
Eternal Scourge.
Yeah.
So with those 2 and food chain, because we are in green, we can go ahead, make infinite mana,
And
cast Chulane,
every time you cast.
continue casting the creature you made infinite mana with. And again, you don't even need to make infinite mana. That's the whole joke of this. Because you literally, you don't put the land into play tapped, you just put it into play. And you just draw your deck. And you have every single utility land, whatever you had in your deck.
And
It's just there.
Choose your weekend.
You don't lose if food chain goes off here. You shouldn't.
No, I mean you don't. Take care that you need to remove Chulane after you draw your deck, because if you keep casting, it keeps drawing your deck. It's not a May. Who cares? Has a third ability that does it for you. Just like, oh, I need to go off. I draw my deck. Don't need anymore. I'm paying 3. I'm gonna bounce Chulane to my hand. I'm gonna keep infinite mana and just win with some random thing.
But again, the thing you get with the food chain, the mana you get from food chain rather, is only usable on creatures, right? So
Walking Ballista. There you go.
Walking Ballista. But again,
Easy.
You get to draw your whole deck, and then you have lands. So whatever your outlet was, your 30 lands, your 28 lands, your 34 lands, doesn't matter how many you have. The Ancient Tomb,
they're gonna be there.
All that stuff, it's going to be fine. Drop your City of Traders last. I don't know what your land list looks like. You will have the mana sufficient to do whatever, but Ballista's probably the best bet for killing the board, and if they destroy Ballista, just recover it.
Pool of Eternity and put it back. And
what are they doing? I don't know. Noxious Revival casts Scourge again. Walking Ballista.
Can I go again? Thank you.
Are we
done? Okay.
It's crazy. He's really good. He's 5 CMC. It doesn't matter. He's an outlet. So
He plays in green. 5
really
CMC.
good stuff. Really good stuff. I mean, there's really not much to say here. This is the standout commander. This is the one you should be brewing for. If you have a list, let us know. I know there's a ton out there already.
And you will face this guy a lot.
Ooh.
You will be seeing this guy. That's 100%.
He is sick. I would love to see like an alt art for this guy.
So dumb.
So good. But guys, that's it. That is it for Throne of Eldraine.
Yeah.
That is every conceivable card effectively now. So there are 3 from the Brawl set you should look at, and there's a handful from the main set. If you're going out to play in a draft or a sealed event,
Take care of those.
yeah, I mean, and most of the cards we mentioned, a lot of the value ones in my book were in the uncommon territory.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of stuff
cheap.
you get to pull, and it's going to be cheap. So even if you don't play some games, you can buy those singles.
1, maybe 2 mythics. Oh, we got
Embry.
Robin Hood and the Great Henge. Oh, and Embry. So we got 3 mythics. That's it.
And the Cauldron of Eternity if you're doing your Grenzo list.
No, you're doing the cat.
Your
It's not the Grenzo, it's the cat.
Well, Cauldron Familiar list with Grenzo at the helm. But guys, that is it for the review. I hope we pointed out the best cards for you and helped you strategize potentially for any of the new cards listed off today. I mean, there's a lot of potential there by form of removal and by form of commander. So I'm excited for this set, man.
This set's amazing.
Yeah.
Even if not for EDH, for all other formats, it's great. It has value, everything. The flavor is
win.
beyond everything. Every set you could think before this, it just blew it out of the water. There's not even close the flavor to this.
I'm so happy for Wizards right now. Like
the
success of their online game. I don't play it, but
Arena even.
Yeah, they've been able to afford certain things that they hadn't been able to before, and like their promotional video for this was over the top, comical. Have you watched it?
The Garruk fighting with the gingerbread.
Oh, so excited for this
really
set once that was spoiled, and they didn't let me down. I think for the most part it's a flavor win. I'm going to be very excited doing some two-headed giant games with this. If you're going to be at the Star City Games in Philly.
Yeah. Oh, because Eldraine hits before that. Oh man, I might not play Modern. I might play Sealed.
I'm going to be releasing this video before the events next month.
So if you're going,
October.
we'll see you there.
So if you're going to Star City Games Philly, October, you'll see us there. But I'm going to be playing some Commander, of course, and I'll be playing some Two-Headed Giant with Justin. Nessa's going to be there playing Modern.
And I'm thinking Sealed for sure. Now that I remember that Throne hits before Philly, I might ditch Modern, or I might play only one Sealed.
It's going to be good though, guys. So again, if you want to chat with us about these cards, you can do so in the comment section down below, but also join us over on Discord if you want to discuss any of the recent
Join the party,
cards.
as we said before.
Yeah, let us know what your Kefnet deck looks like, because I'm not anxious at all. It's going to suck. I know it's going to be very good. But guys,
and remember, tell a tale.
So once upon a time. Start with that every game. Guys, happy brewing, babies.